Hello BookTube, it's Ben here from the UK Historian channel. I thought today, rather than doing about books, I found a video from Sean Standfast. He did a history tag video where he talks or he answers like 10 history related questions. So I thought I'd do the same. Incidentally though, I do have a couple of videos which will hopefully go up tomorrow or the day after, because I've received a delivery from Pen and Sword Books, so I've got a delivery of about 15-16 books to read, so I'll let you know all of them in the next videos. So let's get on with the questions. Number one, what first got you into history? It's kind of like a combination of two things, really. I remember when I was back in high school, about 12, 13, one term we did all about the American West, all the cowboys, trails, Indians, you name it, and for about 3 or 4 weeks we did that in our history lessons, and it was just, at the time I just thought it was quite eye-opening, and obviously being a kid I was into like cowboy films and all that, and that connection between the two kind of just really intrigued me, and I found it fascinating. So that was kind of the one thing, and then the second thing was my granddad Davidson was into heraldry and like finding out about your surnames. So what he would do, he was an excellent artist and drawer, and he would do the research into people's surnames, find out all about them, and then on this A4 piece of card he'd do fine writing and calligraphy and artwork that would tell everybody about their surnames and the history behind that. And that always intrigued me, and I always used to find it fascinating whenever we went to Nan and Grandad's house for the weekend or something. You could go up to his room and he'd have this desk and all these paints and inks and paintbrushes and all that, and you could just flick through all his cards, and it was just so fascinating learning about people's histories just from their surnames. So that was kind of the thing that got me into history, and from then on I've always been into history, whether it's books, films, TV, documentaries. If it can be history related, then I'm happy. And then obviously, going through school and all that, I then left school, went into like retail management, and then because of like the economy at the time, sort of going back 15-20 years ago now, it was a bit up and down, so kept being made redundant from various jobs. So in the end I kind of gave up and thought, let's go to college and then university. And then I did history at university, which was like 3 fantastic years where, if I could have every day where I just sat there and learned about history, I would. And it was just a fantastic time. So that was how I got into history. Number 2, what is your favourite history book / author? Now I get sent loads of history books to read, and to be honest, most of them are fantastic. They're all well written, well researched, but I think probably the ones that stick out, who I've found through Pen and Sword, would be Tim Heath. He writes a lot on Germany, but not just, he doesn't just do the battles and the Nazi Party and things like that. He's more into the people, the German people, the families, the daughters, the sons, what all the families were thinking at the time and how they were experienced in World War II at the time. So I think I've got about 3 or 4 of his books up on my shelf. There's Hitler's Housewives, Women of the Third Reich. What else? There's Creating Hitler's Germany. And I find them just a fascinating read, really, and kind of the Hitler Youth, and how did the Nazi Party kind of brainwash a whole generation into going to war, and all the harshness that they were having to deal with or they were willing to dish out. I just find it amazing and an excellent topic. Other favourite authors are D. Brown, purely because I like American history. He's written many books on cowboys, Indians, the American West, the way of life, settlers. That's my number one subject to go to is the American West or like the US Civil War. And then this summer I found Mark Forsdyke's book, Fighting Through to Hitler's Germany, following the First Suffolk, which is another excellent book, going from sort of the D-Day landings and through the beaches and then through into France and then fighting their way through eventually. And it's just like the book's full of personal accounts, and I found it fascinating and an excellent read. Number 3, what is your most anticipated history book you have not read yet? To be honest, anything. As long as it's history related, then I'm more than happy. I have got Mary Beard's SPQR on order, so I'm looking forward to that. And it looks like it should be a fascinating read, although it does seem like everyone else has already read it. So if you have read it, drop a line in the comment section and just tell me how you found the book. Number 4, what is your favourite period and why? That would be the 19th and the 20th century, sort of Britain, Ireland, America, Europe. It just seemed like, squeezed into that 200 years. The world's tried to squeeze a lot in, and it's all excellent. Well, obviously there's so many wars and battles and so many bad things going on which weren't great, but it just seems that it's a period of time where they've tried to cram in as much as possible. You got things like the Industrial Revolution, well, you got World War One, World War II, US Civil War, Korean War, you name it. They seem to have had every war possible, and I think that's just my favourite part of history. And of course, access to the information about it is readily there. Number 5, what time period would you like to learn more about? Romans. I'm trying to get into that at the moment, so obviously with this new book I've ordered. The Romans, the Greeks, I always find I should know more about that. Scottish history, Vikings. Number 6, who is your favourite person in history? It tends to be one of the people that stand out, or people with flair. I've probably, obviously, someone like Winston Churchill, because he spanned such a time when so much was happening, and he's done various things. General Stonewall Jackson, I always found fascinating, and it's a shame he was killed, really. JFK, Abraham Lincoln, kind of those people that stand out with flair, or as you can see from the list, like leaders, and the ones that probably get the most publicity, and there's plenty to read about. Number 7, what history topic would you like to see more of? Well, being over here and living in Wales, the books are a bit restricted, but I would say anything based on American history, because getting the books over from America, they're not always available here, and so it's sometimes a bit of a struggle getting American books about American subjects. I'd also like to see more on Hitler Youth, the Nazi Party. That's about it, really. I'm currently into Victorian England type history. Charles Dickens, Sherlock Holmes, that kind of 19th, 20th century, the turn of. I just find that just fascinating as well. Number 8, obviously going through these questions quite quick. What non-book resource do you enjoy learning from? The internet, obviously there's a wealth of information on the internet. Obviously not all true, but that is the easiest way to find out information other than books. That and old people. I used to be a scout leader for about 20 odd years. We always used to take them to Remembrance Sunday, and you get talking with all the old guys that served in various wars and World War II, and they'd all come along, but they were always happy to talk to you, and whatever age you were, they were more than happy to chat with you. But they'd come and talk to you about all their experiences, who they got on with, why they went to war and that sort of thing, and all the tales and stories and in some ways adventures. And that's always been fascinating, and it's always good to hear from first-hand accounts of what people were going through. And it's just an excellent way to learn actually from the people who were there during the event. Favourite history quote? I'm no good at remembering quotes. I suppose something from Winston Churchill, because he used to have so many quotable speeches and that sort of thing. But I think probably the one that sticks in my mind is the never was so much owed by so many to so few, or something along those lines. But yeah, that's probably my favourite quote. I really like that. Shout out to a booktuber. This is number 10. Shout out to a booktuber you enjoy who also reads history. Well, because I'm new to this, I've found a few that I've really liked. Thank you also to Jason Byways, who gave me a shout out the other day on one of his videos. Jason from Byways in Bookland. I find him really interesting. Sean Stanfest. I think us beardy people have to kind of unite. He's really interesting. And Steve Donahoe and Peg from the History Shelf I find interesting too. So that's it, 10 questions, and hopefully, as I said, tomorrow I'll have a couple of videos up and I'll do the latest books I've had delivered from Pen and Sword Books. Thank you very much.